Hey everybody, welcome back to the Maniac, and we are doing a live stream today, or I should say tonight, for my guest. This is Alex Hart. He works at Mini Plant Oxford, and he works specifically with engines. So if you have a car with a B46, B38, B36, whatever, he's probably been around that engine or might have even put one in your car. So I'm going to let him tell us a little bit about what he does. And go ahead, Alex, take it away.
I currently work at Mini Plant Oxford, as Zach just said, but I've been there for the last 3 years, and I help put the engines together. More specifically, I put the catalytic converters on.
So the thing that we all like to take off our cars sometimes.
Yes, so it's very great for me when I see people decatting it. So that is very good.
Well, I haven't decatted mine yet. I've toyed with the idea, but I don't want the check-in light keeps coming up when you decat.
I'll be watching you.
Yeah. But yeah, so basically you've worked there for, you said, 3 years now, and
yeah.
So you've been there for as long as the F56 has been built, basically. So
yeah, roughly. Any of the new LCI models, I might have had a hand in. There's 1 in 3 chances. So if you find that cat's got blood on it, and it's an LCI, it's probably been me. So.
So I'm assuming, based on the fact that you said it has blood on it, I'm assuming you have some incidents sometimes where you have minor mishaps where you're
it's very easy to sort of nick on stuff and catch your hands and stuff. But other than that, it's usually we wear gloves, so it's not like we're fiddling about with it handed. So
effectively, Mini Plant Oxford employees really do put their blood, sweat, and tears into their work.
Yes, you could theoretically say that. Yes.
Well, that's awesome. So you also own your own Mini yourself. I imagine that most people who work at Plant Oxford own a Mini.
And it's mostly company cars, but there is a certain few that have Minis as well. But you wouldn't go a day without seeing one.
I mean, there's going to be. I mean, chances are, if you don't own one or one of the employees doesn't own one, you're going to see plenty of them there. I imagine
exactly.
in that town, you. But yeah, that's incredible. So I'm sure you've seen a lot of there's cars. I know you've told me there's cars and colors you're not allowed to talk about that you've seen, but I'm sure you probably have encountered some crazy or some interesting looking mini models that might be coming up in the coming years.
Quite possibly, yeah.
And he has to be for all my subscribers who are watching or going to watch later, he has to be as vague as possible about this when it comes to colors or new models, because there's stuff that you might know. And I've encountered this with other Plant Oxford employees and just Mini employees in general. There's stuff that they know that we're not allowed to know, that they might know things coming down the road in like the next 9-10 years even. So there's all sorts of crazy stuff coming. But we already know that Mini's working on a test car that looks like an electric Mini. It looks like a GP, and we know there's something going on with that car, and that'll be announced at some point. But I know you probably have seen the car at some point at the plant, at the very least.
Unfortunately, I haven't seen this one. No, this is one that's completely new to me personally. So, obviously, there was that one that they showed it off in December, which is one that is most likely to be the one that is currently going to be used.
Yeah, but you got to see you did get to see the facelift cars before they came out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what was your first impressions when you saw those before we even saw them?
It was the Union Jacks I made out before anything, but it was very what's the word, surreal sort of thing, because it's obviously like you see the pictures, then you go, oh, that's quite nice, and then you see it on the car, and then you're just like, oh, that's quite nice actually. You go, ooh.
So basically, you've had your take on the car. What do you think of the facelift for the Cooper S, the new front fascia?
The new one.
Yes.
Yeah, it looks so much nicer. It's currently obviously it's entering they're thinking it's going to be updated soon, so possibly this is like the last facelift for this generation.
Mhm.
So they've obviously pushed the boat out and got a bit wild with the styling. Because obviously on the new JCW, that's the one with like the big, big gob. But it's quite it's in person. It's a lot nicer because obviously when you see all these comments on Facebook and stuff, you sort of go by that, but it's actually a lot nicer in person than it is on pictures.
And I've noticed that the pictures don't always do the car justice. I've seen some pictures of the cars out in real life, and they actually look very, very good. There's still kind of people that look at them and they think that there's a gigantic mustache on the front of the car, or some people just think it's overstyled, like the JCW. They think it's overstyled, and I'm not one of those people. I actually think the look is much cleaner, in my opinion, because I think about the pre-CI, the pre-facelift cars, and you think about all the attachments and everything that are stuck onto the front and rear fascias, and you're like, that's just extra stuff that isn't needed. Why is it there? So then you see these newer ones where they've cleaned up the lines on the entire car, and you're looking at it and you're going like, wow, they actually managed to make it look cleaner, more refined. Everyone's losing their minds over the fact that the fog lights are technically gone.
Yeah, it does look a bit more sleek at the front because they actually have removed them. There is nothing there.
Yeah, the only thing now is like the fog light switch is still there, but it's for the weather lights, the bad weather lights that are mounted inside the headlights. But the funny thing is that people never used fog lights correctly anyway. So the advantage though of having them mounted inside the headlights now means that the JCW can have those same headlights, and we haven't had JCWs with bad weather lights or fog lights in general for at least since 2015.
Yeah, it's a good thing that I think it suits the style a lot more than with the fog lights. Don't get me wrong, I like the fog lights on mine, but obviously other people might feel that it's not as menacing looking.
Yeah. I don't know. I think the aesthetic is definitely simplified, and that was what I was told with what Mini was doing is they're going to a simplified aesthetic on the car because they're trying to kind of bring back some of the enthusiasm and so forth that was associated with the R53 and the R56s. Those were people more of a significant interest in those cars than there was that seemed to be with the F cars. And they all look at the F cars, they go, oh, the front overhang is too big, the rear overhang is too big, it needs to have short overhang. So they've tried to do what they have for the F cars currently by taking those things off the front and back of the cars and slimming the front and rear down. But we're going to see a lot of that change with the fourth generation Mini, or in the case of the UK, the fifth generation Mini, since the Classic is technically the first generation. But the next generation Mini is going to be completely restyled. You're going to have a longer wheelbase, but the overhangs are shorter. And people immediately think when you say longer wheelbase, they immediately think, oh, that means the car is going to be bigger. No, it just means they're going to spread the wheels out further. So they're shrinking the car, but they're spreading the wheels out to the corners like the original car was. Or like
more of a go-kart sort of feel than however some may put.
But that being said, I still think the go-kart feeling is still there in these cars. I don't think it's ever gone away, but that's a personal opinion. And I know there's a lot of people.
Honestly, I think they're brilliant. They're so much fun to drive.
Mm-hmm. But if you had to pick aside from your own car, if you had to pick a generation of Mini to buy, which one would you have? And out of that generation, what specific make or what specific model and trim would you pick?
Probably a Gen 2 GP2.
The Gen 2 GP2?
Yeah.
That'd probably be my one. My only one complaint with that car is it did not have a multifunction steering wheel from the factory.
They are very nice though.
But I did actually the one that I reviewed that I'm going to be doing a video on that's going to be going live on Monday. That car actually has a multifunction steering wheel in it because the guy who bought it retrofitted it to the car. So all the buttons and everything work because apparently they just put a non-multifunction steering wheel in the car when they built the cars, but the wiring and everything to run all that stuff was still there.
That's very helpful of them.
Well, in the United States, we have everything's really spread out, and we use cruise control a lot. I know that's not quite as needed in the UK.
Yeah, it's not as predominantly used, but does have its perks.
Yeah. So, but you have an F56. You have a volcanic orange Cooper S. And what model year is it?
It's a 2015, so it's non-LCI, but it has got Union Jack lights.
Okay, so you retrofitted, like what I did, you retrofitted the Union Jack taillights onto the car.
It was SMPS 2012 I used. I won them in a competition. So
yeah, yeah. I didn't get my taillights from them, but they have great. They do sell some really good taillights. I've gotten their marker. Really I've gotten their indicator lights from them. For some reason, I bought a similar set from another company, and I was having issues with them. They kept causing the rapid blinking, rapid clicking thing, like the receivers weren't working. And I don't know what it is with the ones from SMPS 2012, but I haven't had a single issue with them.
Yeah, they're brilliant, and they're so easy to do as well.
Mm-hmm. And the SMPS stuff, I know a lot of that stuff is more plug and play. When I installed the Union Jack taillights on my Cooper S, I had to, because they're OEM taillights, I had to go into the Beamer Code app and I had to go into expert mode and just change programming for everything to get those taillights to work. And still, I have one issue where if I turn on my hazards at the same time I'm applying my brakes, it'll throw a code. It's the weirdest thing, that it will throw a code each time I do that. And then the minute I let off the brakes, it clears the code. It's just really strange, but it will happen every single time. So I can't quite figure out why it's doing that, but it will keep doing that. So if you had to, so I got to ask then, if you had to, since you have a volcanic orange was discontinued several years back. They had a volcanic orange. You guys had the option of having volcanic orange on the Clubman, as I recall.
Yeah, we did.
And we didn't have that over here. And I think it would have made them so much more fun if they had them over here. So I don't know. Yeah. I don't know why we didn't have those colors. They tend to not bring the bright. They tend in the U.S. not put the bright, flashy colors on the Clubman. For that matter, we don't even get British Racing Green on the JCWs.
That's not fair.
Yeah, we get the only green we get on the JCWs is Rebel Green.
Yeah, but that is nice as well, though.
It's a nice green, but here's the thing: if you put red on it, like all the advertising for Mini has, it looks like a freaking Christmas tree.
Actually, I do see where you're coming from there.
It doesn't. It's in that instance, it needs. If you're going to do Rebel Green, it needs to have white, and if you're going to do white, it really needs to be like the pepper white, not just regular white. They don't do pepper white for a roof, but a pepper white with a Rebel Green would look pretty sharp. And we have a couple of comments I'm going to pop up in here. So we're going to go with Game Reviews, Old School Gamer. Just ordered my 5th Mini Cooper or Mini Countryman, all 4 Cooper S in sage green, fully kitted out. It's an expensive car at 40,000 pounds, but I know the build quality is top of the line. Roll on June this year. That's fantastic. Great car. 40,000 pounds. That would probably be about $45,000 US, I want to say.
Lovely color though. Very nice color.
Sage green's a really pretty color. I've been impressed with. I was really impressed with that car. I wasn't so sure about it when it first came out, and then I saw one and I was like, wow.
Yeah, very good.
Rocco L says volcanic orange was and still is my favorite color on the minis.
Volcanic orange squad.
I had the Solaris orange and I prefer it over the volcanic orange. Looks red in the dark in the dark though. So Solaris orange is one of the colors that was discontinued for the 2022 model year.
Yeah, now, yes, it was.
And that's the other thing is we have our model years in the US are very, very different from what you have over there. Because I've had people comment on my videos, why are you calling this a 2020? It's 2019, or why are you calling this a 2021? It's a 2020. For some reason, the US market 2022 models come out in 2021. 2021 models came out in 2020. We do this weird system with our model years, and you all, I believe, go by the number plates on the cars because when you buy the cars over there, the number plates are usually attached already.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is not something we do over here. You buy the car, you add your own. You go to the courthouse and you get your own number plate from the DMV. So, Timothy Daniel, can you custom order BRG in North America? On the JCWs, I don't believe so, Timothy, but I've seen it happen before where someone try to work in a custom ordered color on a JCW.
That would be a custom order color.
Yeah, well, someone wanted a this was a while back, but someone wanted a Starlight Blue JCW Clubman. This was in 2019, and you couldn't get Starlight Blue on a JCW Clubman in 2019 at the time. So they ordered a chili red one. The plant was contacted, and it got flipped to a Starlight Blue. So it ended up coming out as at the time the only Starlight Blue JCW Clubman in the entire country.
There's a thing to brag about.
Well, see, now you can get it in Starlight Blue, but I think Starlight Blue was discontinued across the line as far as I know as well.
I think that's another one that got the chop, unfortunately.
Yeah. And that just means, and the funny thing is, everyone thinks like, oh, it's been discontinued, it's gone forever. No, they can still bring the colors back as special editions. They just temporarily get rid of it.
A good example is the Paceman, because that was Starlight Blue originally, and nothing else was. So
yeah,
they brought it back.
In the case of the color Rooftop Gray, they had Rooftop Gray in 2013, and I think it was for the Baker Street edition.
I think that might have been it, yeah.
Yeah, and it was the only one that came in that color, and then that was gone, and now they brought it back. So someone just asked, can you ask him if there will be a Patty Hopkirk edition for a 2022 model year? I've seen one that was a Patty Hopkirk inspired or styled one that had the 2022 body on it. Turned out I read somewhere that was a one-off for that particular rally driver.
Is that which one was that one?
Oh, I can't remember the rally driver's name, but I think he lives in Norway.
I'll have to have a look. Because Paddy Hopkirk actually got given one of the Hopkirk editions, and that was just a standard one. Yeah,
but there was another one that was like a 2022 model that was a one-off just for this other rally driver with his own number on it and everything.
That's quite cool.
That's fun. So Wendy says, I almost considered the BRG4 with a red top and mirror caps. I didn't because it does look like a Christmas tree. Ha ha. I went with white silver and a red top with mirror caps. White silver with a red roof looks fantastic. White silver with a black roof looks pretty decent. White silver with a white roof is really interesting. That's a really kind of classy look, and everyone thinks you can't do it because the mini configurator on the website won't allow it for some reason, but you can order it with a white roof. So Wendy here said not BRG, Rebel Green. Yeah. Rocco, I remember Ice Blue, such a nice color. Ice Blue is definitely a really pretty color, and it's definitely hard to come by these days. They're very few out.
Very hard to come by. I originally remember seeing one, I think it was before they would come out, and it was one that I had never seen before, and it is a nice color.
Mm-hmm. This person's asking any special editions coming out for the two doors, and if it's anything you can't tell me, you're going to have to just say you can't give that information.
The only ones that you probably know about at the moment is the LCI version of the 1499 GT.
I did not know about that one actually.
Yeah, it was announced. I think it was just before the end of last year, and obviously it's got the Union Jack lights and all that sort of stuff.
Oh, that LCI. That was the not the 2022 model year, but the 2020 or 2021 model year, 1499 GT. Yeah. So aside from that, there really aren't any other special editions coming out at the moment.
Possibly no.
I take that back. There is one. The 2022 Boardwalk edition is coming to the U.S.
Yeah,
they did.
That might be the one.
Yeah, they did announce that. It'll be Deep Laguna metallic, of course, and it'll be really cool. It'll be a really cool vehicle, and it's priced at about. They said the MSRP is about $40,000, so it's pretty affordable as far as small crossovers go. So
that's the one that you literally just uploaded as well, isn't it? Ooh.
I want to say I was working on a video that I was going to release for that car, but I realized I've already done a video on the Boardwalk edition, so I didn't really want to release a second video on the Boardwalk edition. It just kind of didn't seem like it would make sense to do it twice. But when the car actually does come out in the US and when they actually get them here, I'll try to do a video with one. And they said that they're going to send at least one to every dealership in the US. So every mini dealership in the US is going to at least get one of those cars because they're sending over 400. And I think they said 200 of them are going to be front wheel drive and 200 are going to be all wheel drive. So, Timothy Daniel, any idea if the black belt line will come to the other models, such as the Clubman? I added it to my 18 Astro Black JCW. I didn't know you could get Astro Black on a JCW because we have Midnight. Because I've only seen Midnight Black, but I know that it's available for the hardtop to do basically it's piano black as far as I know for the belt line.
Yeah,
but I don't know if it's going to be available on the Clubman or the Countryman. If that's something you might know.
Possibly in the future, but at the moment, I'm not too sure. I've only seen ones with chrome at the moment, so.
And I mean, it's not that difficult to buy the $15 kit and wrap your own belt line.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, so it's usually pretty easy. But I would imagine that if it becomes popular on the hardtop, they might offer it on the Clubman and Countryman as well at some point. But I think right now they're just keeping it on the hardtop because that's the more common model. So
the 5-door is actually one of the most popular models we make at the moment. So currently,
a 5-door.
Yeah.
Wow, that's funny. That's funny because it's the least.
US is the 5-door.
Yeah, the 5-door over here is the least popular.
Oh, it's one of the places I can't remember.
Yeah, the cars that this dealership in general, the Mini dealership here that I'm sitting in right now, the Mini dealership in general over here tend to sell a lot of Countrymans and they sell a lot of 2-door hardtops, followed by 4-door hardtops or 5-door, convertible, and then Clubman I think are tied, but you don't usually encounter the 5-door being very popular over in the U.S. It surprises me that it's popular over in the U.K.
Yeah, there's loads at the moment that come through, but obviously there's the refresh happen, so hopefully,
yeah,
see where things go from there.
Now I remember there were rumors and pictures showing a hybrid 4-door hardtop at one point, and it doesn't look like that's actually followed through from the test cars we were seeing.
The 4-door.
There was a 4-door hybrid or 5-door hybrid.
I think I know which one. It was the Long Island Blue one, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was an Island Blue. Yeah.
Yeah. There's nothing on that at the moment that I can share because obviously I don't know if it has come through because obviously it's just all the electrical components are sort of the same thing. I literally just put on a few pipes and then send it on its way.
Okay. So it might be coming, it might not be. We don't know yet.
It might not be.
Yeah. Wendy says, on my 2021 JCW, everything on it is black, chrome deleted, except for all around the base of the windows. That's the belt line. I wish that it was a straight from the manufacturer. What is the belt line? Wendy, the belt line is that chrome rim around your car below the windows. That piece is, they make a kit now. You can buy it from the dealership to install a black belt line on your car. You can also apparently get them port installed at starting for 2022 model year. And I think you can also get them factory installed if you spec it out on the spec sheet. I don't know when they're going to have it on the spec sheets, but right now you can get it spec that way. So you can get belt or the black belt line right now is what I'm saying. Okay, I'm repeating comments on here, but yeah, basically Timothy and Wendy here are chatting, but basically they said, yeah, you can get the belt lines, what we're talking about. What I was going to ask. So what do you think about, you've heard about Mini planning to electrify the brand by 2030.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's a good step in the right direction, to be honest, because obviously we still make diesels, I think, for correct me if I'm wrong, it's still the Clubman and the Countryman, I think it is.
No, I know we don't have them in the US, so.
Yeah, because they're trying to cut back, and obviously we actually had loads of pre-orders as well for the electric car as soon as it hit, even though lots of people were complaining about the range, but they were actually really, really popular.
Mm-hmm. So sounds interesting. The diesels sound like interesting vehicles. It's unfortunate that the U.S. market never got a chance to them. Some people are asking, the belt line is not an option. I've just bought a new Mini. The black belt line is an accessory that you can buy at the Mini dealership, and I know this for a fact because they have one in the back at this dealership that I'm sitting at right now. So I know that you can definitely get a black belt line for a hardtop, two-door hardtop, and yeah, two-door hardtop, because I think the belt line on the convertible is completely different as well. Or is it?
I think it might be. We don't make the convertibles.
Yeah, the convertibles are made by Nedcar.
Yeah.
So FCA Enthusiast USA, we won't talk about Fiat. Does Mini produce the Cooper hardtop with the 8-speed, or is it the 7-speed DCT? The answer to your question is it's the 7-speed dual clutch transmission that's in the Cooper S, and Cooper S convertible. It's also in the front-wheel drive Clubmans and front-wheel drive Countryman's. But all 4 models use the 8-speed automatic. Now, I know that we in the U.S. don't get – there's one transmission that I know we don't get in the U.S. anymore on the Countryman or Clubman with all 4, and that's the manual. But last I heard, was that discontinued in the UK as well, or do you all still get the manual for those cars?
I think they're possibly phasing it out.
Okay.
But obviously they're trying to move it over with the JCW Clubmans. They actually can't handle the horsepower, so
now can they really not handle the horsepower, or they just say that they can't handle the horsepower?
They claim.
Because I know some friends who have 300 horsepower JCWs with manual transmissions, and they're working quite well.
Yeah, they claim it's obviously there's certain stuff and bits and bobs.
So we're going here. FCA Enthusiast says 7-speed DCT is awesome. I've been in one very, very quick shifts. Yeah, the DCT does shift fairly well as long as you're in the Cooper S. In the Cooper, the DCT is a little slow. And I've actually gotten in one where I stalled a 7-speed DCT in a Cooper, and I couldn't believe that I had stalled one. I'm like, how the heck does that happen?
How do you stall an automatic?
It's because it's not really an automatic. It's technically not an automatic. Because I've put it in gear before, and I've noticed it actually doesn't roll like an automatic would when you put it in gear. You kind of have to still put your foot on the gas to get it to go. So Wendy's going to look for it today for the belt line, that is. Any idea if you will be able to retrofit the new JCW front and rear bumper on the 2018 JCW? To answer that question, because I can probably answer this, you will need the front and rear fascias, the front and rear grills, all the fittings, all the pieces of hardware, probably the side skirts, the wheel arches, and the crash materials and bumpers underneath all those fascias. So it's going to be incredibly expensive and probably cost prohibitive to do that.
On the F56 is where the black panels are. That's actually a full metal bar. The
pedestrian bumper.
Yeah.
In fact, I was talking to someone the other day. We were talking about someone had slammed the hood on a Mini one, or on the F56. They pushed down on it and dented it. And I couldn't believe that you could dent one of those bonnets. And I said, well, the way they designed these cars is that it's pedestrian safety. So that bonnet is designed that if it's pedestrian, the person's going to fall into that bonnet's going to cave in. Because there's an air gap between the engine and the bonnet, and that's designed to keep.
If you look on the front, there's actually like a bulge.
Yeah, and it's designed to basically cave in on itself to protect whoever you just ran into. You probably shouldn't run into anybody, but
yeah, don't go out your way to test it either.
Yeah. This person just said the all 4 only come with an auto gearbox in the UK. Okay, so they did phase out the manuals completely. That's a shame though, because I think one of my favorite cars to drive was an all 4 Countryman with a manual transmission. I thought that was incredible. Just an incredibly fun drive. In fact, I almost bought a 2017 Cooper S Clubman all 4 with a manual.
They are really nice cars.
Yeah, beautiful cars.
Never had the chance to drive one.
No. Darren Markham says, what happened to the airbag deactivation switch on the 2021 Mini Clubman S, missing from the options? list just ordered one in Island Blue. I don't know if there was an airbag deactivation on those cars. I always assumed that if you didn't have a sitting master seat, the airbag didn't activate.
I wouldn't be too sure. I thought it would have been down the door panel.
Well, if there is an actual deactivation switch, that's something that I'm not familiar with.
I wouldn't know either, unfortunately.
That could be something new. That could be something that's been there for a while. I never noticed. I remember when I started noticing they were adding USB-C ports in the cars.
Oh, I haven't got any USB-C yet in mine.
These things.
Oh, the weird ones.
Yeah, they started adding these. They started adding these into the cars. So I remember when I started seeing those, I was like, "Oh, that's kind of cool. I can charge my GoPro cameras now while I'm driving." So Ryan Black says, "How long we looking for delivery time on a facelift in the UK?" Well, facelift in the UK, I can imagine you guys are going to get those cars out fairly fast to your market.
Yeah, they're possibly. You're looking at the moment for about 2-3 months. I think somebody was in the group the other day and they were saying about June.
Yeah, that surprises me. That's actually the exact amount of time to get one to the US.
Yeah, with shipping and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm surprised that it takes that long from the plant within the UK itself to go to the UK.
Yeah. It obviously depends on how many orders we get and how many we build in a day, sort of thing.
Yeah, because just because you order a car on January 5th, for example, doesn't mean it's going to get to you in February. It could be that your car is like the 300th in line behind.
Yeah, exactly.
All those other
Plus,
cars.
it's got to go through. Oh, sorry. Plus, it's got to go through paint shop. It's got to be all that sort of thing. Because they actually, and then obviously rework. Because obviously, you don't want an imperfect car.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, there's imperfect cars that do kind of slip through occasionally. I noticed that my bonnet on my car is one side of it where it meets the wheel arch and the A panel. It's off by like 1/8 of an inch. It like overhangs the wheel arch by 1/8 of an inch. I'm like, well, it looks like someone stamped this and didn't stamp it completely. But I mean, it happens with everything. There's always little imperfections here and there occasionally.
Just makes it more unique.
Exactly. I think sometimes that's just kind of a mark of the assembly process. If there's a little minor imperfection that came from the factory like that, you're like, well, that someone had their hand in this car, so you always wonder, well, who was the one who was working on this car when it went through the assembly line? Or you get a little paint blemish, and you're like, well, who missed this one during the inspection process?
Seems like I got the slacker.
So there's all sorts of little things that happen here and there. Sergio says, will the instrument cluster ring be retrofittable to the older F56? I don't know what what your take is on that, but I think I was told that it is retrofittable to the previous cars because it's just a trim ring around an LED light.
It does look like that, yeah.
So I think it probably is retrofittable to the other cars.
It should be, yeah.
And so FCA enthusiasts, at least in case you do accidentally turn off the airbag, you'll likely still survive with Minis. Very good safety rating. This is very true. I've been in a car accident in a Mini, and I walked away. The car was totaled, but it did exactly what it was designed to do. The passenger compartment held its shape, protected the occupants.
Exactly, and that's all you can ask for in a car.
Yeah, and if you've watched the video recently, it came out of Canada of a dump truck that rear-ended a Mini and then pushed it sideways down the highway. That woman the car's total, but that woman got out of the car and walked away without a scratch. The car did exactly what it was designed to do. So Minis are just some of the most incredibly safest cars on the road.
Rigid, very rigid.
Yeah, Mini really went. They overbuilt. BMW is known for overbuilding their cars or over engineering. Mini overbuilt this car when they designed the passenger compartment. It does exactly what it's supposed to do, and that's protect who's in the car.
Definitely.
Yeah. Game reviews old school. In the UK, there are 2 auto gearboxes. I've selected the 8-speed Sport Automatic for my new Mini, so much better response on it. That would be correct if you're having JCWs, you have either a 6-speed manual or an 8-speed automatic if it's a hardtop. if it's a Cooper S or Cooper, it's a 6-speed manual or a 7-speed dual clutch. I know you guys have several transmissions. The hybrid still uses the 6-speed automatic, as far as I know.
So, yeah.
And then, of course, the electric Mini uses a single speed.
Yeah.
So this person just said we ordered our car on December 7th, 2020. It was built on February 22nd, 2021, which means you'll probably get the car.
Probably.
April.
I think now.
Yeah. So, I mean, it sometimes takes a little bit of time. So, Sergio says, do you know where the B38 engine is made? How different is it from the one that goes in the i8? As far as I know, the B38 engine is made in Hams Hall.
I think that is right, yeah.
So it's the same engine that's in the B38 is the same engine that was in the Cooper in 2014. It was the same. It's the engine used in the i8. It was. I don't know if it was ever used in the hybrid Countryman or not. I think that's still the B36. But
yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, the B38 though is also the only Cooper engine that Dynan can actually do a tune on. Because the B36 won't do it apparently. So it's kind of a shame when you think about it. I mean, I would love to see the. I don't know. Here's the weird thing with the engines. The B36 is the Cooper's engine now. The B38 was previous engine. Do you guys still have the B38 in your Coopers over there, or is it B36 now?
I'm not too sure. I know we still use four. It's mainly 4 cylinders at the moment. But I think I'll have to look into that one for you.
Yeah. Because I know that we had in the U.S. market the only hardtop that still had a B48 engine, for example, was the JCW hardtop and JCW convertible, and now they've changed those to the B46D, so they no longer have the B48 engines, which kind of surprised me. I'm a little surprised. I was surprised that they were bringing over the lower emission variants, but I know that you've all also had changes done with with the engines over in the UK with particulate filters,
GPF filters and stuff like that.
And I've heard because of that, a lot of the newer cars don't pop and crackle and burble like they used to.
That's why mainly some people do take them off.
Mm-hmm. So basically, if you remove the particulate filters on these cars, does that mean that they'll? I know you can't do it. I know you can't do it in the UK, but if you did.
Yeah. I think the particle filter is one of the main reasons why some people are a bit put off. Mm-hmm. They like the pop and crackle, but you can. Well, if you're feeling lucky, you can take them off.
Yeah, if you're feeling a little adventurous, right?
Exactly.
Because I know that I was talking to someone the other day who said that their new JCW, and this is in the U.S., their new JCW doesn't pop and crackle like the previous model years, and we thought it was from the particulate filter, particle filter, but the particle filter doesn't come to the U.S. market. So there has to be something else in the system that's making that change.
I think it was one of the EU regulations for our lot over here.
So the EU regulations changed things, and then it kind of trickled over to the U.S. market as well.
I think it's a possibility, yeah.
So yeah, unfortunately, there's some changes in those, like the JCW GPs. Everyone thought the new GP3 was going to pop and crackle, and it didn't.
It's not as good.
No. Well, we did figure out how to make it do one. Or how to make it do that. If we put a Pro exhaust on it, it'll sort of do it.
Yeah, exactly.
And we've gotten one to do that. Now, Connor Constable here says can't do that in the UK or it will fail MOT. This is very true. I heard Petrol Pet had a similar situation with his Roadster, that it failed MOT because I think it had something to do with something related to
pollutants. I think it might have been.
Yeah. He also says do not do this unless it's only for used on the track. Okay. We'll let Low and Mini know not to do any of that stuff unless they plan to. Yeah. So Sergio also says, could it be like the BMW M340i that it may have a mild hybrid system that killed off the pop and crackles from the 2021 models? I don't know about that. I don't know anything
We
about.
don't do mild hybrid systems for the 2-door, your 4-door,
Yeah,
or the Clubman.
yeah. The only one that has a hybrid right now is the Countryman,
Yeah,
and that one, I don't even think it crack. I don't think it crackled. It ever crackled, to be honest.
no.
Yeah. Although it is a hoot to drive when you switch it over completely to electric mode, because all it does is drive the rear wheels.
Yeah, exactly.
There's
I
only
have people who have driven the electric cars have said they just go.
Mhm. This is very true. The minute you kind of just get in it, you stomp on the pedal, and it's like, yeah, the 0 to 60 is 7.3 seconds, but it's a very fast feeling 7.3 seconds. like it's a quick little car.
Exactly.
It's
That's
also
why
it's
it's
also,
one of the most
mhm. It's also kind of
still
unnerving
very
when
popular.
yeah, it's also kind of unnerving in the electric Mini because you're not hearing the car, you're not hearing an engine, you're just hearing the wind noise and this electronic humming sound as you're driving. It's like we have to floor it around a corner just to get any kind of car sound out of it, get like the squealing of the tires. Just so her 2021 JCW does do it, but it has to warm up a bit, not in green mode though. Obviously, green mode it will never do that, but
No. I can't comment because mine's not a standard exhaust, so
yeah, mine is odd. I have a Cooper S with a JCW tuning kit, but I have a JCW exhaust, not a Pro exhaust. So it's a there's a long story behind it, but it was a good deal to create it that way. So it's a really fun car. But
mine's a Remus exhaust, and
oh,
let's just
Remus,
say that's just a little bit loud.
there's a fun one. That'd be a fun one. So Connor Constable, I'm looking at getting the 2021 JCW. Is there anything different between the LCI2 than the LCI other than cosmetics? As far as I know, cosmetics are pretty much it, aside from the fact they've added a heated steering wheel as an option.
And it's now a flat-bottomed uh, instrument panel on the things.
Yeah,
Steering wheel.
yeah, and now the all the cars come standard with the digital gauge cluster.
Yeah.
And all of them now come with what are they now? They all come standard now with LED headlights and taillights.
Yeah.
Which was something that a long time coming. They should have done it years ago.
There's actually an article where in over here where somebody didn't want the lights and they refused to pay to get them removed because they had the Union Jacks on it.
Seriously.
Yeah, if I find the article, I'll send it to you because it's quite funny actually.
See, I've been told that when I say Union Jacks, that it's offensive to Brits to call it the Union Jack. That it needs to be called the Union Flag.
Oh, there's some fuss pots out there. If you just want to annoy them even more, just say UJ lights.
sounds like a plan. Darren Markham says power went down to 278 horsepower in the UK now on the S models. That is something I noticed. It's 192. No, it used to be 192 in the UK, and then they dropped it to 178. The US market, it's still 189.
Yeah.
So what changed on the cars? Because I don't think anything component wise changed too much between the cars.
I don't know. The only thing I see is really just the engine. I put the catalytic converters on, and that's all I see. But I can't speak for that because mine's actually been tuned. So
yeah. The person, my wife, and I looked at the electric Mini, but with a range of only 140. Mini have a long way to go for the same price that you get a Tesla. That's another thing with the electric Minis. We've seen the test car, we've seen the prototypes out there for the 2024 or 2023 Mini Cooper, the one that we're calling the G56 for lack of a better definition of the platform. But someone commented on one of my videos that they said that they noticed that the platform, that the wheelbase being longer, they noticed that it looks like it has a battery tray underneath the car, which means it might have a much bigger battery system than the current car. Which is
that there was rumors of 300 miles plus.
Yeah, and if they're going to have an electric Mini with 300 miles plus, that's a completely different. That's a whole new game changer right there for the Mini brand to have an electric Mini that gets 300 miles on range.
Exactly, and it'd be more competitive against leading electric brands.
Well, especially considering that Tesla has been teasing their own little hot hatch. So to see Tesla doing something like that, now Mini's like, well, we have this one that might have we were thinking it might have a 300 plus range in it. That's pretty incredible. That's something that people are going to look at. That might make people want to buy electric Minis like crazy just because they have the range that people want out of them now.
Exactly.
So Connor Constable, I have the 2018 LCI, so maybe I shouldn't do it just mod my Cooper S. Well, I don't know what were you talking about? Oh, you were talking about the cosmetic changes. I mean, it's up to Connor. It's up to you if you want to if you want to upgrade to the 2021, 2022, whatever model year we call. It's a great car regardless, but if you want to upgrade, go for it. If you don't want to upgrade and you want to just keep what you have, go for that as well.
Obviously, where it's still such a new model, there's still bits that haven't been. There's slight changes to it that would not allow such mods like stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
now I can imagine
what you sort of really want to do to it.
Yeah. So there's still things you can do, but just not that much. Are the facelift models? Yeah. William Bonnard, are the facelift models still shipping with manual handbrakes? I know the Mini Electric has an electric handbrake. All right. Here's the thing with the handbrakes, and I know this from what I've read. If you have the what is it called? Adaptive cruise control with stop and go function, it will have an electronic parking brake. If you have a electric Mini, it will have an electric parking brake. If you have an automatic or a manual and you don't have the adaptive cruise control, it will have a manual parking brake. I think that's pretty accurate. Joshua Prussia wants to know, what's your personal favorite Mini? So this is a question for both of us. So you go first. What's your personal favorite Mini?
I reckon the coupe.
The coupe. And why is that specifically?
I reckon they took a risk. And obviously it caught on, but these cars still sold. So it was a first sports sort of car for Mini. Very specific, and it's two-seater, and it's fun, and it's Mini, so can't really go wrong.
My personal favorite, if I had to pick one, would probably be, well, I'm going to say my previous Mini to the one I currently have. My personal favorite, it was a 2014 John Cooper Works Clubman, and specifically it was in kite blue, and it had the Recaro interior. The full Recaro
as well, actually.
Yeah, it was a beautiful car. It turned out the owners, I'm not sure if they were correct on this, the owners were told that it was the last kite blue Clubman to roll off the assembly line in Oxford.
Yeah. I couldn't confirm that because I wasn't there. So
yeah. Andrew Marriott says a pain to build the coupe. So this must
probably. I wasn't there when they were building them, but they were a pain in the ass.
Well, I'm getting the impression that Andrew might actually be someone that works at Oxford. Well, the coupe and the coupe and the Roadster were basically variants of the convertible, because they shared a lot of the underpinnings and everything to make them stiff enough to be the way they are. Connor Constable, do you know if there's any way to get Starlight Blue on the new models? And as far as I know, the answer to that is no.
That's a custom order yet again.
And I don't think in the U.S. market we can't do custom order. And Andrew Marriott says, "Yep, I'm a supervisor." So we got another Plant Oxford employee on the live stream tonight, or today, I should say. So that's
what I'm trying to say. C shift is the best shift.
That's awesome. But it's great. It's great to hear. It's great to learn a little bit more about the brand, a little bit more about the cars, some of the fun stuff that goes on. I'm sure there's some fun that happens at the plant. I would imagine.
Yeah.
So you've heard of some of the April Fool's cars, since it's April 1st is coming up, that Mini has done in the past?
Yeah.
What was there one that was called the Yachtsman or something?
Yeah. Mini Cooper T.
The Cooper T.
On T or something, I think it was.
It ran on T. I think they toyed with one that was like completely chrome as well.
Ooh.
Yeah.
There was a mini hipster as well.
Uh-huh. So Connor Constable said he wants to know how do you go about placing a custom order. I would imagine you just do that through the dealerships, if I'm not mistaken.
I think that's probably because obviously you got the mint green one. There was Miami blue.
Oh, Miami Blue Clubman. That is beautiful. That is a beautiful car.
That one from Dick Clovett on Instagram, and it was like Porsche blue. Oh,
that was beautiful. I would love that color on my own car.
It was really nice.
That was really nice. Joshua Prussia says, any thoughts on websites to use for trim pieces or aftermarket parts, not necessarily OEM, but aftermarket? In the US market, my recommendation is outmotoring.com. And if you use code MINIAC5, you'll get 5% off on your order with them. And any order over $195 is free shipping, standard boilerplate stuff. If you're over in the UK, I know that SMPS 2012 is a great place to get some aftermarket stuff for your Mini. And I know
LuxyWorks is another one. I use a lot of LuxyWorks products.
LuxyWorks. That's another good one as well. There's lots. You all get lots of great little companies over there that can do some really fun stuff with the Minis. I'm jealous. Like you got a tuning shop over there that's close by that can do all sorts of fun stuff with the Minis. It's like we don't have any of everything's so spread out in the United States that we don't have any of that close by.
Yeah, we got Lohan and all that sort of stuff as well.
Yeah, you get all the good stuff over there. We get like everything's kind of so spread out. Like there's one guy who can do. There's one guy in the US who can do ECU tunes really well on Minis, and he's out in California. Oh, he's talking to someone on the. Hi, everybody.
Sister walked in.
No worries. But I don't want to keep you forever. We've been on here for almost an hour. I should let you go at some point. But hold on, we got one more. Wish we could share photos of our Minis on here. That would be a fun idea to share photos of our Minis on here. But unfortunately, I can't, and I know I can't without using a website, and we might have to find a way to make that work at some point. I'll figure out, Joshua, I'll tell you what, I'll try to figure out a way to make that happen at some point down the road, even if that means I just start having people contact me and I send them a live stream link so they can join the live stream and show their car off. But we'll figure out what to do with that at some point down the road if I can find a way. But I wanted to go ahead and start to wrap this up, but I want to thank Alex for joining us today, tonight, tomorrow, morning, wherever you are. But I'm going to have him stay on the line when I finish up with you all. But I want to thank everybody for coming. If you have any more mini questions that you want to ask, comment in the comments down below this video when it gets published. If I ask them, I know Alex will. Try and answer them to the best of my ability. I know there's some things Alex can't say. There's some things that can't say. Works for the brand, obviously. So there's things that he can't tell us. But
embargo and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. But there's a lot of cool stuff coming from Mini. There's a lot of exciting things happening, and I appreciate him taking the time out of his busy schedule to join us this evening or this afternoon, since it's 2:53 here. But if you haven't already done so, I want you to subscribe to the channel. Leave a like below. Don't forget to comment. You know the standard stuff. I got tons of playlists on the Mini brand, and there's lots of great videos still coming down the road. So if you get a chance, check out those videos. But I'm going to let you all go by telling you that life is too short to drive a boring car. So, Alex, what do we do?
Get a Mini.
Yep, we drive a Mini. I will see you all in the next video. Thanks for joining us, and you all have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are.